Great. Okay, so I'm going to start recording now. So I'd like you to come back into the upper back opener, but also it's like a resting pose to a certain extent. So you're remembering that you're bringing the tips of the shoulder blades to the bolster, and then we lie back, really supporting the head well, so there's no excessive strain in the neck. Sometimes it helps to go, so you don't want to be supporting the lower back. It's definitely the rib cage, tips of the shoulder blades. But sometimes you have to adjust slightly lower or slightly higher to get the right feeling in the upper back. The arms rest at their side, feet together. Okay. And we can close the eyes. Just to spend a few moments arriving into a session. So checking in with yourself as we open into this practice, the third session. So we're going to be working as the upper back, shoulders again. So definitely over these 3 sessions, I've got a thorough workout. In the second workshop, which is in a couple of months' time, we're going to focus more on the lower body, so the pelvis in terms of opening and strengthening, and the abdominal sort of core area. So it's going to be a different orientation. Okay. So I'd like to tune in with the overall body, sense of global awareness, the whole posture. Getting a sense of your physical energy as well this morning, Sunday morning. 3rd day into this retreat workshop. So maybe you're starting to feel the body more strongly, some aches coming out, or strains even. Hopefully a sense of spaciousness as well in the body, growing spaciousness. And then tuning in more specifically different areas of your body, noticing what's happening around the upper back and shoulders. Noticing what's happening in the pelvis, in the legs. And asking yourself, how do you feel this morning? So tuning in with a sense of your mood, the emotions. Again, the previous 24 hours, the night is going to influence your mood. We tend to wake up with a certain mood once we start to become conscious of it. So being aware of your mood this morning. And tuning in with the breath. Being aware of the breath, the body breathing. As we did yesterday, I'd like us to slightly intensify this pose now. So we take the arms above the head along the floor onto your support, and you can fold the forearms into each other. Maybe rest the forearms also on the same support that the head is on. And then we're just gently going to lift the breath more consciously into the chest area, the side ribs. Particularly emphasizing the in-breath. So only if that's okay on your upper back and shoulders. So if that's too intense, bring the arms back down by your side. So as we inhale, lifting the breath into the upper back, side ribs, chest. So it's not so much about opening the chest as broadening the chest. We'll do 5 cycles of a deep inhale, letting the exhale happen. Completely letting go with the exhale, deepening the inhale. And then releasing the arms once again down by the side. Letting the breath come back to normal, bringing the soles of the feet onto the floor. So we're going to slide down towards the feet, so keeping the head low, allowing the head to be then supported by the roll, pushing the roll out the way, coming into semi-supine, letting the spine come into neutral shape, feeling the floor. Connecting with your breath. Okay, we're going to roll now to one side. And we're going to come into a couple of movements. So we did this yesterday. So I'm just going to do this facing the camera. So start to warm up the shoulders. So we're going to come into a bit more movement this morning. So extending your arms out. And then tipping the fingertips back onto the shoulder. We start with small circles in one direction, okay? So you're keeping a sense of long spine in the vertical, gently circling. And then we can start to expand the circle. Feeling your way into the shoulders. Gradually bringing the elbows more forwards. You can explore taking the elbows back. Obviously, that's a more limited movement. The elbows are not going to touch behind you, but they may touch in front of you. Keeping a sense of softness in the movement. Once again, we can move towards smaller circles again. And then change direction. Small circles to begin with. Gradually building. Again, moving the elbows towards each other, gradually building up. You can also open the opposite way. Try not to disturb too much the sense of verticality of the spine. This will gently warm up the shoulders actually, even though it's fairly gentle movement. Gradually beginning to reduce the size of the circle again. Coming into a very small circle again. And then just resting the arms down onto the lap or to your sides. Pause there. Okay, and then we're going to turn. So I'm going to go along my mat. So this is, we're going to do 2 versions of Vajrasana. So we saw this the other day. So I'm in kneeling. I'm having both hands on the sacrum, but I'm actually going to turn the head. So I'm going to turn the head towards the screen. And in this movement, we just take one arm up. So we take the arm up in the, so if I'm looking to the right, I lift the right arm. So as I inhale, I turn the head to face forward, raise the right arm, looking up even. And as I exhale, I turn to the left. I'm taking the right arm down, turn to the left. I'm now turning away from the screen. On the second round, I take the left arm up. Right hand stays where it is. I'm looking up towards the center, even looking up towards the sky. Exhale, I'm now taking the left arm down, but turning to the right. So the head does the opposite, as it were, to the arm. Okay, I'm looking to the right arm now comes up. Synchronizing the movement of the head with the arm. As I go down, I'm taking the right arm down, looking to the left. Smooth movement. I'm now taking the left arm up, taking the gaze to the center line and up. As I exhale, taking the left arm down, turning to the right. Hand comes back into the position. I'm now turning to the right. Right arm goes up. Inhale, swinging the hips up, at the same time as extending up, reaching up through the upper back. As I exhale, turning to the left, right hand comes down. Inhale, left arm comes up, turning to center. Exhale, turning to the right. Taking the gaze to the right as on the inhale, the right hand comes up, reaching up. Obviously, it would be helpful probably to have some padding under the knees if it's not there. Right hand comes down, turning to the left. We'll just do one round on each side. One more round. Raising up, left arm goes to center. As I come down, turning the head away from the arm. As it comes back to the sacrum. Okay, so last round on each side. Inhale. Arm going up. Center, gaze as I turn to the left. Right hand comes down. And last cycle. So the left hand comes up. Gaze to center. And then this time we're going to simply come down, rest the arms down by the side, rest the forehead down to the floor, come into a simple child's pose, balasana. Breathing now. So sort of movement of really thinking in terms of the axial skeleton, the spine, neck, in relation to the appendicular skeleton, the shoulder and arm. Okay, so I want you to place the hands back onto the sacrum. So we've already done this one. So as we inhale now, we take both arms up into the cactus shape and draw the shoulder blades down and open the chest slightly. Exhale, swing back down. Hands come onto the sacrum. So we'll do 5, 6 or 8 rounds. Inhale. Going into the cactus, the shoulders drawing down, chest opening, gaze up. Exhale, so I'm slightly going off screen there with the cactus position, but the gaze can go up in the cactus position. Deliberately drawing the shoulder blades down and smoothly guiding back to child's pose with the hands on the sacrum. Opening the chest. And one more cycle. Inhaling. Shoulder blades down. Exhale. Release to the floor this time. Allow the hands to come down to the sides, all the way to the floor, letting go. Breathing now. Sense of warming that we're doing with these dynamic movements. Checking in with your breath. Sense of staying with the breath and bringing your attention into the sensations, into the body. Developing here a global awareness. Okay, so for this next movement, I would recommend some sort of padding under the knee if you haven't already got that. So I'm going to put the pad underneath my left knee, tuck the toes under and step the right foot forwards. Okay, actually, I'll turn around so you can see. So my left hand is down by my side. So it's a similar movement to the Vajrasana. So as we inhale, we extend up, really reach through that left arm. Obviously, we're going to work the back leg. And as you exhale, you come back down again. The right hand can rest on the thigh. So there's an emphasis of lengthening from the left knee into the left hand through the left shoulder. Exhale. So it's just a gentle, well, I say just a gentle, it can be quite an intense lunge movement, but you're using the right hand to support your upper body. And we're emphasizing drawing the left shoulder blade down and in towards the spine. Yeah, so there's a sense of really working through that upper body, upper shoulder area. Next time we hold that position, and then we can retake the cactus position with both arms, opening the chest, keeping the front leg engaged, right foot pressing towards the floor so you're not collapsing into the groins. Exhale, release the hands down, come into all fours. And we can change the position of the support. If you're using support under the right knee now, left foot comes forwards. So just change my direction. So you have your right hand down by your side. And again, with the breath, inhaling, extending up. Left hand can come onto the left knee. Exhale, back down. So we're emphasizing really the lengthening through from the right knee to the right hand. Gaze can go up. Obviously, you're going to feel this in the pelvis, the groin, on the back leg, and the front leg. And this will be a warming movement. Inhaling, reaching up through, arching through the upper back, through extension, through the right shoulder. I'm turning my palm to center line. Okay, next time we inhale. Back, shoulders, blades down, elbows down. On the next exhale, you bring yourself forwards, palms, fingertips to the floor, swing back into all fours. And we're going to rest back into child's pose, resting the forehead on the floor, completely letting go of the arms, letting go of the body. Reconnecting with the breath. And surrendering to the floor after that heating movement, the lunge, low lunge, arm raise. So we've seen this already. So we're going to do a little bit more strengthening, load bearing. So coming into all fours, tucking the toes under and come into dog pose. Okay, so I'd like you to emphasize lifting the pelvis. You can keep the head in line with the upper arms. And then we can allow the heels to come down. So you take some work into the legs, front thighs engaging, opening the backs of the legs. So we're going to make this a dynamic movement. So as we inhale, we come into the high plank. So as you inhale, plank pose, exhale, swing back. So we'll do 5 times. Okay. Inhale to the high plank, arms straight, bringing weight over the hands. 3, 4, and then 5, and then we'll hold for 3 to 5 breaths. High plank hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dropping down to the knees and rest back into child's pose again, completely surrendering to the floor, letting the head go, letting the arms go, softening the face, letting the hips be heavy, so really letting our weight go down into the floor. Feeling a sense of warmth that this sequence is generating. Checking in again with a sense of your mood. This can stimulate the, as it were, the emotional body in quite a different way to a more quiet practice. So observing, noticing what's coming up. So we'll take that once again, the 5 planks with 1 hold at the end, okay? So coming up into dog pose. Start off with the hips high on the tips of the toes, and then you can drop your heels. When you're ready with the in-breath, so as we inhale, coming into the plank, being careful not to drop too low, the gaze slightly forward, exhale, back up. Inhale 2. Inhale 3. Broad hands, if you can bring the base of the fingers down. 4. And then on the 5th hold there, 5th position, should I say, 5th round, staying. Inhale, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Releasing the knees down and rest back again, completely softening back into child's pose, letting the head go. So you can support the head on the hands or the head onto the floor. If it's not, if you're not enjoying coming forwards all the time down to the floor, you can sit back onto the feet and be in a more upright position. But whatever you're doing, resting for a few breaths, allowing the body to come to stillness. So we're deliberately setting a slightly slower pace. Obviously, you could do all this much more quickly, but I want to try and stay with this more relaxed rhythm, even though we're doing quite strong work here. So the next three postures we're going to do statically. So we did this, I think, on the first session. So just show the hands. So we're going to do the forearm balance. So the first position is like bringing the hands together. The tips of the index fingers touch and the thumbs cross. That's the first. The second is going to be palms together. And then the third one will be palms like this. But what we often can do with that is you take the block either like this crossways, index finger and thumb, or long ways depending on your shoulder structure. And the other thing to play with is how wide are the elbows. Yes, so personally I find to get a little bit more stability, it helps to draw the elbows in because it slightly tightens up, as it were, this line here in terms of creating a bit more stability around the shoulder. So you can go wider or narrower. Okay, so let's try 3 times. First will be the fingertips, as it were, the thumbs crossed, fingertips touching, elbows, you decide the distance. And we're going to lift and hold, okay? So we lift up, pushing back. It's kind of satisfactorily intense for the upper back and shoulders. Strengthening position. The hips can stay high, the knees can be bent. That'll help you to release the spine up, particularly the lower back area. The gaze, so the neck soft as possible, the gaze down towards the floor, or even looking back towards the feet, whatever's comfortable. Mainly working the shoulders and arms. When you're ready, releasing down, take a pause to child's pose. Tuning in with the sensations around the upper back and the rest of the body. Second variation is the palms, as it were, in the prayer position. Again, aligning the elbows with the shoulders. And then the other thing with the prayer position, which is helpful if you do headstand, is to see if you can keep the outer wrists pressing towards the floor. This is a good place to train the outer wrists down towards the floor. So again, lifting the pelvis, the knees can be bent. Emphasis is with the upper body and arms. You can try straightening the legs as well. Okay. Either way, pressing through the outer edges of the forearms and the outer wrists. See if you can keep those down. They tend to pop up. Okay, so see if you can gently press the outer wrist, outer hand down. Breathing now. Sense of work, resisting gravity now. Really the opposite kind of work to yin practice, completely opposite. We're working against gravity and then coming down when you're ready. Again, taking a pause there. Completely surrendering to the floor. And then the last version. So the last version I suggest you try doing is with the brick. So the index finger and thumb hooked around the corner, or quite simply the 2 thumbs into the edge of the brick. Or you could even try without the brick. That will really emphasize the importance of grounding the palms and the forearms. So it's up to you, okay? And then once again, lifting up,
This is probably, I mean, depending on the structure of your shoulder, this is probably the more difficult version. Okay, so we're deliberately externally rotating the shoulders here because of the hands being wider apart. So you're pushing through the forearms. Again, feeling that work against gravity. Knees bent, legs straight, up to you. Breathing there. Releasing the neck. And when you're ready, coming down into all fours and all the way back into child's pose. Softening the neck, releasing the head down, letting go. Okay, so having done quite a lot of strengthening work there, I'd like us to just have a pause, a quieter pose. So we're going to come into an inversion. Okay, so I'd like you to get a stack of material to come into a supported bridge. We did this towards the end of yesterday's session. So it could be 4 or 5 bricks or the equivalent. So the pelvis we support up, okay? So we're going to stay here for a while just to allow the upper body to, as it were, calm down, and extending the arms away from the shoulders. What I suggest you do is you turn the palms up towards the ceiling and deliberately open across the pectoral area. So really opening across the collarbones, the chest area, lifting the sternum. So it's slightly active through the upper back. So once you've got a sense of opening in the upper body, we then take the legs into the vertical. So we're looking to balance the legs towards the vertical with a sort of minimum amount of muscular effort. The legs balancing over the pelvis. And then you can allow the upper body to go a bit quieter. Once you've got that sense of opening, more active opening, I suggest you actually let the upper body, the sternum, chest area soften. So we're not constantly engaging the upper body to open the chest. Allow it to go quieter. Okay. Most a sense of softening the chest back towards the floor. Once we've created a sense of space, which is quite a contrast. Another way of working this pose is to constantly lift the chest area, so it'll be a more active inversion. But what I'm suggesting now is just to go quieter. So the heart center quieter, chest area quieter. Checking that your neck is free. So one way of checking that is that you can gently nod your head in a yes fashion, so the chin can move towards and away from the chest freely. So we're not pressing strongly the back of the head into the floor. Closing the eyes. Just for the next 20 breaths now, we're going to take our attention onto the breath. Sense of becoming engaged with that process. At the same time, aware of the rest of the body, what's going on.
Checking that your neck is free. Sense of quietness in your upper body. And from there, very gradually bringing one leg down, moving back into the supported bridge. Again, re-clarifying that sense of broadening across the upper back, opening of the chest. And then we lift the pelvis to come out just a little bit, taking the support out the way. Lowering yourself down into semi-supine. From there, carefully rolling to one side and maybe having one or two cushions or blocks to sit on. We're going to do a twist. So the twists, you know, we tend to think of them to be to do with the spine, but actually they have a really good effect in terms of quietening and opening, as it were, the heart center. So I'd like you to extend, so I'm sitting a little bit higher, probably for me, one brick is enough, okay? And you can just sit straight onto the floor, that's fine. We're gonna do two twisting poses. So the first one is to draw your one leg up and then across. So we're doing like a cross position, bringing the foot in as close as possible to the body, and then we gently embrace the shin of the folded leg. And then just so we keep the upper body quiet, what I'd like you to do is to turn towards the folded leg and hook the inner elbow around the shin, as it were. So you embrace the bent leg and then turn towards the folded leg. So it's quite quiet, really, with the shoulders. Okay, so we're going to grow the spine. So this is more like a yin posture, gently growing the spine, vertebra by vertebra. The head staying fairly neutral, the head and neck staying fairly neutral. Emphasize a sense of releasing from the ears down to the tops of the shoulders. So those trapeze muscles, fibers releasing. Growing your spine. So this is where sitting on a brick may be helpful to get a sense of growing the spine. Otherwise, there can be a sense of collapsing into the lower part of the spine. So if we lift up a little bit onto a brick, this helps grow the spine. Closing your eyes, again taking awareness into the body, being aware of any specific sensations around this pose, particularly noticing what's happening in the upper back, chest area, shoulders. What we're looking for is a sense of broadening. Sense of the hips heavy. The straight leg can be very, very lightly active if you want, or it can be fairly passive.
your opposite hand, the one that's not wrapping the leg, is behind you, and a sense of trying to release from the shoulder all the way down to the fingertips, resting the fingertips on the floor. Bring a sense of spaciousness across the upper back, broadening. And then from there, very slowly releasing back to center. And we're going to change the legs. So the folded leg becoming straight, opposite leg crossing it away. And then we hook the inner elbow, comes into the shin area as much as that is possible, drawing ourselves up and turning. Again, you can keep the neck and head fairly neutral. Although if you want, you're welcome to look back. Sometimes I teach this where we look forwards, okay, which is an interesting way of practicing this pose. But what we're looking for is a sense of broadness across the tops of the shoulders, lengthening from the ears towards the tops of the shoulders, trapeze, broadening, growing the spine. Vertebra by vertebra, lifting up. Tuning in with the breath here, which is probably going to be shallower. So the diaphragm hasn't got as much space to move with a twist. And once again, releasing round to center and extend the folded legs. So now we're going to bend, try to fold one leg underneath. So we'll switch sides. So we're going to go back to the first side. So the idea is to set yourself up into like a half cross-legged position, but with the top leg high, okay? So we know this pose as Marichyasana. So again, so this time we can hook the elbow, but what I want us to try not to do is to push really aggressively with the arm. But if you want, you can go back to wrapping again, but try hooking across the elbow and turning again to the top leg that's folded up towards your chest, lengthening up. So if that feels like it's too, as it were, aggressive on the upper body, then just go to wrapping as we did with the last pose. Slightly more compact pose. Again, the gaze, the neck and head fairly neutral. So the gaze can go back, but that can introduce unnecessary stress in the neck. So just checking in on that. Or you can look forwards, okay. Lifting through the spine, using particularly the arm that's wrapping to help lift the spine or hooking. Sense of broadness across the chest, releasing from the neck to the shoulders. Sinking into both sitting bones. So try and have a sense of weight going equally into both sides. That might tend towards one side. And then once again from there, releasing round to center. So rearranging the legs. So we've now, the up leg is now folded up underneath you. Really maybe helpful to sit on a brick, drawing yourself up briefly and then hooking across or wrapping, depending on how you want to try that pose. But try and keep the upper body quiet, okay? So rather than people can get really into pulling round, so trying to avoid that. It's more like drawing yourself around, guiding yourself around using the arms, particularly the arm that's wrapping or hooking, growing the spine, sense of vertical spine, looking for the vertical axis, weight even into both sitting bones, sense of broadness across the back ribs and the front ribs. So imagine that as it were that rhomboid, well, it's triangle shape, should I say, trapeze, sense of broadening out sideways. Attentive to what's happening in your neck, no straining. Sense of what your breath is doing here. Probably quite quiet, quite shallow. So a sense of releasing. So we're not forcing the pose, allowing the pose to sort of melt the body, melt the upper body, broaden, releasing tension from the center towards the periphery. Soft heart center, soft chest area. Softening between the shoulder blades. Okay, then from there, gently cycling around to the front, releasing yourself from there and down, back to child's pose, back towards the back edge of your space. And from there, coming into all fours. Okay, so we did this movement again a few days ago. So we're going to do two versions. This is more of a dynamic strengthening movement. So it's tiger stretch. So as you inhale, you take your right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, you draw yourself up. You can even take hold of the left shin in the right hand and then repeat. Inhale, reaching back and forwards, 5 times on each side. Inhale, extending. Again, coming back into some strengthening work. Exhale, folding up into a ball. Inhale, extending. So obviously, the left hand here is doing the weight bearing. Inhale, extending out. Last cycle. Exhale, folding up. Inhale, extending out. And then from there, dropping back again into child's pose. Softening down, releasing the arms, both arms. Reconnecting with the breath. Inhaling into all fours. So this time the right hand is going to stay down, left arm goes forwards, right leg goes back, tiger stretch, exhale. See if you can draw up into a ball. Obviously we engage the abdominal area here, but emphasizing the weight bearing into the right arm. 5 cycles, 5 repetitions. After the 5th repetition, releasing back down into child's pose, 3 or 4s. Releasing down. Tuning in with the breath, letting the body calm down again. So the second version of the tiger stretch, this is where we alternate. It's quite intense actually. So the idea is to, I'll just demonstrate maybe. So you bend it's like you're trying to reach back for your foot. You keep the elbow in, bend one leg and the opposite arm, exhale back to all fours, and then inhale to the opposite side. It's as though you're walking, but you're not actually going anywhere. So we'll do that 5 or 6 times on each side. So we inhale, pushing through the floor with the down hand, but reach back for the foot as though you're reaching back for the foot with the opposite hand. Again, smooth movement. Inhale, reaching back for the opposite foot. Obviously, you lose your balance if you lift both arm and leg on the same side. So we're doing opposites. Try and keep the elbow in line with the shoulder joint. Tiger stretch 2. I'm keeping the gaze down, neck long. Inhale, reaching back. One more time on each side. And rest back into child's pose, release there. Feeling the heat that generates, those 2 tiger moves. Particularly the second one is more challenging as we're bending the arm and bringing the elbow in. Okay, and then from there, sitting up onto the heels and resting back onto the heels. So again, this comes from the 500-hour practice. So we're extending both arms out straight now. This can get, again, surprisingly intense. So we just do very small circles. Can go up to 30, going in one direction, okay? So we don't expand the circle stays small. A sense of lengthening from the ears, the muscle fibers out to the fingertips, so away from the ears, down to the shoulders and out. Opening the back of the body as much as the front of the body. So I'm not going to count. At some point, this will just get really tiring, okay? So you just rest, remembering which way that you're going. Just like we're gently moving our wings, When you've had enough, you can rest the arms. Hopefully you remember which way the arms were going. Take a full pause between cycles, feeling into the shoulders. Once again, unfolding your wings, extending out, so the opposite way. So it may take a moment just to work out which way you are going. So going the opposite way. Doesn't matter if you repeat. Just small circles up to 30. Or until you get kind of tired, as it were. Surprisingly demanding. This is mobilizing and strengthening the muscles around the shoulders, the upper arms, upper back. Breathing freely. And resting when you're ready. Full rest there. Rest the arms into your lap, onto the floor. Growing the spine, softening the shoulders. Breathing now. Okay, then once again, extend the arms straight forwards now. So we'll take the right arm over the left. We did this the other day, wrapping the forearms, if you can, the elbows at the same height as the shoulders. If that's too intense, you can rest the arms down towards the chest. What's called eagle pose, Gurudasana. Taking that just for a few breaths. Stretching the outer shoulders, also drawing the shoulders away, shoulder blades away from each other. So we're working the what are called the rhomboids. Stretching them by opening the space between the shoulder blades, and then release down. Extend the arms forwards again. Now left elbow sits inside the right, and elbows come to shoulder height. Shoulders dropping down. Deciding if you're going to have the elbows high, shoulder high, or you can soften them down. Releasing the sides of the neck. And releasing the arms down. Okay. So I felt that it would be good to also, it seems like, doing the upper body and not doing some sort of hand balance would be a shame. So I'm just going to show one possibility using a wall. I'm not suggesting that you all do this, okay? So hopefully this will come across. So what we do is we measure up. I'm sure you've done this before. So you need a wall and you make a right angle with your body. So the feet are going to be where your hands go. So I'm going to just be aware of where the feet are. Turn round, place the hands down where the feet were, maybe slightly further out, and then I walk the feet up the wall. So you can have the knees bent, and obviously that brings weight into the upper body and arms. Okay, so it's sometimes preparation for hand balance, but it's actually in some ways more demanding than the hand balance because we're not leaning into the wall. So I suggest you just try that a couple of times. You can play with the distance between the wall and the hands. Not going to hold that for very long. A few breaths. Try and bring your weight into the arms. Let the head hang. Walking the feet up the wall to a certain extent, to about hip height, maybe slightly higher. And then resting down. Just see if we're having a go at that. Great, yeah, I can see Kashantika now. Pretty full on position actually. Saskia's gone off screen, so I don't know quite what she's doing. Okay, so just a couple of times. I'm sure, I know we've done this before in my classes. That's it, yeah, Una there, I can see. Okay, great. Okay, so coming back into your space, we're going to come back into kneeling again. Just move. Great. So I'd like you to have a strap. We're going to do a little bit of strap work. Actually, it'd be better if I'm facing towards you. So have the strap as long as you can. And so we're going to do a little bit of strap work now. So we take the strap between the thumb and the index, okay, out in front, and then we expand out, taking the arms straight, and then we take the arms up and very slowly start to work the arms back. So at some point you'll meet resistance. So you need to go a little bit wider, but try and keep the elbows straight and move through that resistance, taking the arms back. Okay, so you can move quite slowly. With the breathing, I suggest you just breathe as much as you need. So we're not going to connect with the breath, and we bring the arms back. Should be more easier probably, and then bring the arms a little bit narrower, hands a bit narrower. Do this 3 or 4 times. Taking the arms up. Slowly, you'll meet the resistance. Gently moving through that resistance, opening the hands wider if as much as is necessary without bending the elbows. Try not to push the chest too much forwards, disturb the spine too much. And come back round. Again, bringing the arms a bit narrower, hands a bit narrower. Third and final time. Keeping the tension between the arms, between the hands and back. Okay, then take a pause there. Rest the arms down onto your lap. Relaxing the face. Feeling the cumulative effect of all this work in the shoulders, the upper back area. Second strap variation, maybe it's better to demonstrate sideways. So again, tension between the hands. We take one arm up and one arm back. Okay. One arm up and one arm back. So we're creating a sense of active tension between the hands, reaching back and in towards the medial center line and up, straight up from the shoulder with the up hand. Again, care to not push the chest forwards. The gaze going towards the horizon, spine long. Okay, swinging round. So the hand that was behind you is now going straight up from its shoulder, and the other hand drawing into the center line. Crown growing up. spine growing up. And releasing down. Completely release down for a moment, both hands into your lap, take a pause. If we're spending too long on the knees, do stretch out the backs of the legs for a moment. And then we'll try that once again on the first side. So one hand's going back, the other arm's going straight up. So you can have the distance between the arms as narrow as your body allows. Obviously, if they're really wide apart, you're not going to feel anything. So you're looking to create a sense of tension between the hands. It's like a bowstring, if you like. So your arms are the two ends of the bow. One hand is going back towards the center line. The other arm is going straight up from its shoulder. Neck free. From there, we're going to swing round to the opposite side. And connecting with the breath, being centered in your body. So even though it's quite a simple pose, there may be quite a lot going on, right? So we're really challenging into the shoulders here. Again, releasing. And with your belt now, placing the belt across the right shoulder. And I'm going to suggest we change the leg position. So we're going to come into a classic pose here. So this is where we fold one leg over the top of each other. So it's really to do with the pelvis, this position. If that doesn't work for you, okay, then just come into a kneeling position or a cross-legged position. So this is known as shoelace in yin yoga or Gomukhasana. And then we're going to take the right hand round the back of the body, left hand going straight up, and then you can use the strap, that's helpful, to connect the hands. Elbows drawing away from each other, closing the eyes, and letting your weight go evenly down into both sitting bones. So we're growing the spine. So this has a wonderful benefit of lengthening through the thoracic spine. This pose is the hands are, as it were, pushing in against the upper back, encouraging the upper back to lengthen. It's a great pose if you've got a tendency to collapse the upper back, which most of us have actually. It really helps us to bring awareness into lengthening through that, what's called kyphosis of the upper back. Elbows drawing away from each other, weight evenly into both sitting bones. This is a really classical pose, Gomukhasana. If you can hook the fingers, then just go with that. Deliberately holding a little bit longer so we can allow this pose, the classical yoga pose, to sort of penetrate down into the upper back, shoulders. Releasing the fingertips or the belt. If you've got the belt, you can place the belt on the left shoulder if you're using it. Release the legs and switch the legs. wrapping the legs if your legs allow you to do that. Now taking the left hand round the back of the body, extending up the right hand if you can, hooking the fingers, or taking hold of the belt, so the belt's at hand there. Lengthening, consciously lengthening through the upper spine. So the arms are going to help to guide that lifting through the upper spine, chest broad. So your top elbow is moving away from the back of the head, so we're not pushing into the back of the head. Growing the spine and weight into the sitting bones. Connecting with the breathing. Lengthening up into that top elbow, drawing down through the lower hand. Allowing the pose to really work down into the shoulder joint. When you're ready, releasing the belt or the fingertips. Extend your legs out for a moment. Okay, we're going to come into one last pose here. So I'd like you to have some support. So we did this on the first day. So obviously this might not feel it's about the upper back, but if you release into the upper back, you can see how it lengthens through that area. So what's important is to rest the head. So we're going to extend both legs forwards and take the arms up, and then we reach forwards. You don't have to touch the toes in this, not necessary, but what is interesting is to support the head weight and allow the upper body to really soften. So that's what I'd like you to invite you to do, is to really allow the upper body to soften. So I'll just change my angle there. So it's not so much about a really deep forward fold, although that may happen, depends on your body. It's more about releasing the upper back and the arms, okay, and taking advantage of this, as it were, stretching of the back of the body. So the pose is called Mottanasana of the West. So the West is the back of the body because traditionally we do yoga towards the rising sun in the East. So it's like we're stretching the back of the body. So you may notice this more in the legs and the lower back, but I'd like you to take your awareness into the upper back, shoulders and arms, and have a sense of releasing there. So using as many props as necessary. Letting go as fully as you can, coming into awareness of the specific experience, specific sensations in this pose. So I'm also doing this as a way of working and opening the backs of the legs, given that we've had the legs folded for the last section of the sequence. So being aware of the stretch or opening in the backs of the legs. Cultivating the sense of letting go in the upper back and neck, face. And coming into our global awareness of the whole body, so aware of the shape. In the yin yoga it's called caterpillar. Sense of your mood, also the emotions. So being aware of your experience as one of changing. And coming into the breath. So for the next 20 breaths, so I'd like us to hold this a little bit longer, really softening into the pose, being aware of what's happening, the changing experience of the pose and the breath. See if you can let go more fully. And then from there, we're going to slowly unwind or restack the spine. And we're going to move into a resting position. So you can use some support under the knees. Make sure you're going to be warm enough. Supporting the head. Lowering yourself down to the floor. Lengthening the waist area. Broadening the upper back and lengthening the neck. Resting back completely into the floor for the last section of the class, of the session. Surrendering your body weight to the floor. So I'll just give ourselves a moment or two to set up there. So I'm just going to lead a brief scan of the body from the head downwards. So I'd like you to take awareness into the head.
Being aware of the back of the head on the support or on the floor. You can release the base of the skull, where the skull and the neck meet, softening that area, occipital area. Relaxing, releasing the face, the eyes, the jaw, forehead. And checking that the cheeks, the jaw are soft. And take your awareness down into the sides of the neck, tops of the shoulders. It's an area that we've been really looking at today in the various movements, stretches, passive holds, strengtheners. Take your awareness into the shoulder joints themselves, around the shoulder blade, upper arms, down through the lower arms into the hands and fingers. It's if you can let go of this part of the body, this appendicular, shoulders, arms, hands, appendicular skeleton. Completely releasing away from the center of your body, letting the arms go. Palms soft, fingers soft. And taking your awareness into the upper body, chest, space between the shoulder blades. And then into the center of your body, as it were, the solar plexus, the belly, lower back. So being aware of the sensations in these areas, in the side of the body. And taking awareness into the pelvis. So indirectly we've worked into the pelvic area in various poses today. So maybe aware of that connections, lumbar, sacrum, pelvis. So being aware of the sensations in the pelvic area. Down into your thighs, groins, inner legs, into the knees, the lower legs. See if we can let the legs go, just as we let the arms go, let the legs go, as it were, fall away from the center of the body. Taking awareness into the ankles and the feet, the toes. Soles of the feet, softening the toes, softening the feet. So we're aware of the whole body, global awareness, the whole body, resting in this poised in relaxation pose.
aware of your breath. And aware of the sense of your mood, quality maybe of stillness that comes with this pose. Being aware of this quality of change as well. And I'd like you to take your awareness out into the room around you and out towards the periphery of your body. So aware of your body meeting, as it were, the space around you. You can bring some movement into the fingertips, toes. When you're ready, just gently turning to one side, as it were, coming back up to upright in your own time. I'm just going to stop the recording now.